Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very, very late newest episode of the Bolt Live. I'm your host, Andy Foreman. I'm sitting here with Jake Wagner, and we're going to be talking about a topic that I am very passionate about, and so is he, the new Batman v Superman movie. This is one of the biggest movies, most anticipated movies of all time, and let's just say I got some stuff to say, because it's... Wow. Let's just start off. Did you like it or did you not like it? What did you think of it?
Well, okay. The consensus for this movie is that it was a terrible movie, and I want to start this off by saying I'm a diehard Superman fan. I find pretty much anything he does to be like
Me too.
flawless or impeccable.
My all-time favorite superhero.
Exactly, but this was not a good movie. It was not horrible, but at the same time, it was not good.
Yeah, I want to preface this by saying people are just tearing this movie apart on the internet. It doesn't deserve the 29% on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever it has right now. It's not Jonah Hex. It's not Spawn. It's not Fantastic Four.
Fantastic.
Yeah, actually, any of the Fantastic Fours, really. It's better than any of those. But like you said, we are diehard Superman fans. He is my favorite, not only superhero, but character of all time.
Same.
Batman is my very close second favorite superhero of all time.
Right there.
It is right there. It's like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. And I'm watching this movie going, it's dripping with misunderstanding of its two main characters.
It really was.
There is nothing in here. And I'm going to start this by saying, my Superman is Christopher Reeve. There's nobody better who will ever play a superhero better than he played Superman. Perfect film, the first two, and perfect portrayal. And I'm not saying I need that anymore. You know, like, they can go on. Like, they can change it. Like, I'm fine with Cavill having his own take on it, but this is nothing.
This is like in Man of Steel, he was a very dark character.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had a problem with that. Like, I kind of had a problem with that, but I understood where they were going for it.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, he didn't even have that. Like, he was like a weird combination of dark and then just straight up pathetic.
He is they give him nothing to do. And
Yeah.
I'm watching this going, one of the biggest complaints I heard from Man of Steel, which I didn't agree with, because I can't explain it, but I unabashedly love Man of Steel. I love that movie. And I can't really explain it, I just do. But everybody during that movie, they were like, it has no hope, it's not uplifting, and I'm like, I'm fine if they tell a darker Superman story. That's fine with me. But the whole thing that had going for it was this was Superman's first day on the job.
Yeah.
So if he didn't really know what he was doing, that's kind of forgivable. But in this, it's like 18 months later, and he's still... Yeah. The first thing he does is kill a man in this movie.
Yeah, and he didn't even have to. It was just like he was just diffusing a situation. And he just straight up threw the guy through a wall. It's like,
I'll tell you right now, like Zack Snyder, the director of this movie, I'll tell you right now how you could have made that scene 1,000 times better. When he's got the gun to Lois's head, and he goes, oh, I'll kill her. Just have Superman super speed up. He points the gun in his head, fires, the bullet bounces off. You have Superman give the little smile, and it cuts. That's how you do a Superman scene. That's how you do it.
Or, like, at least have him, like, focus his heat vision and, like, blow up the gun or something. Like, he's done that tons of times in the comics, and fans love it. It's just the way you want it.
It's, like I said, it's so blatantly obvious that they have no idea what Superman is supposed to represent. And like I said, I got so annoyed when people kept saying, Man of Steel had no hope, Man of Steel had no hope, Man of Steel had no hope. Because I love Man of Steel. But watching this, I'm like, oh my God, it's almost a parody of everything that was wrong with Man of Steel. They're like, let's take everything from that movie that people hated and ratchet it up to 11.
Yeah.
And just really piss everybody off. And it's, oh my God, like, it's 18 months after he's become Superman. He should know better by now.
And like, okay, I should also, I want to add, yeah, it is 18 months afterwards.
Yeah. But
then you also have like that whole montage where he's saving the day in quotation marks. It's causing a lot of damage doing it, but he's still saving the day.
Yeah.
And it's like we see that he's learning. He should be more experienced in this by now.
Yeah, and also one thing I want to bring up: how much Jesus imagery are you going to lather on to this movie? I mean, Zack Snyder layers on messianic. Is that the right word? Is that how you pronounce it? Anyway, he lathers on Jesus imagery heavier than frosting on a Sam's Club sheet cake. Like, it is dripping. And the thing is, Superman, you're not going to... Normally, I get kind of annoyed when people go, well, that's just like, they try and bring in, like, a religious aspect into stories, because sometimes I'm like, just let it be a story. But the entire story of Superman is a Christ-like origin.
Yeah. Sent
from an exploding planet, come here, he's the greatest person on the planet, he's here to rescue all of us. That is inherently in the DNA of the character. You'll never lose it. But how much are you going to use? You know what I mean? Like,
like there were parts where it's like, okay, like you said, it's Superman. You need a little bit, like bare minimum. You need some, just because that's who the character is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, after a while, it gets really preachy.
Yeah.
And this movie definitely had that, where it's just like, okay, we get it. He's Jesus. Do something else now.
Superman the movie, like I said, got it perfectly with that Marlon Brando as Jor-El monologue, where he goes, they can be a great people, Kal-El, they wish to be. They only lack the light to show the way. It's for this reason above all that I've sent them you, my only son. Like, that's all you need. Like, everybody understands. That's all you need. And you had Russell Crowe do it in the beginning of Man of Steel, where they'll race behind you, they'll stumble, they'll fall, but in time they'll join you in the sun. That's the only religious imagery, and it will all come naturally. You don't need to have Superman blotting out the sun as people are, like, reaching to him. And, like,
that was like...
where he's in, like, Mexico City when he saves the girl, and then everybody's, like, touching him. And look, I get it. If Superman was real, there would be people that would worship him, because it's, like, a miracle. But it's a comic book movie at the same time. I don't need to see 2.5 hours of him just being worshipped. You know what I mean? And
it's like I do that naturally.
Yes, I worship Superman naturally. I don't need you to show me how to do it. But he lacks everything that makes Superman Superman. He's kind of like, and they did this. This is the problem I have with the New 52, which is a reboot of Superman. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I got you.
It's DC's reboot of Superman. Is they turned him, they're like, well, we gotta make Superman relatable. And so they turn him into kind of like a thug almost.
Yeah, but see, like, okay, I've had the argument with multiple people, and if like if Frida or anybody ever hears this, they will know that I will argue for Superman for, like, days on end. And one of the arguments everyone brings up is that, like, Superman's not the best because he's not relatable. Like Batman, you can connect with him or whatever. First off, if you can connect with Batman, that's a little depressing.
Yeah.
Sorry. But Superman was never, like, supposed to be relatable. He was supposed to be the image of perfection, and that's the way he was supposed to stay.
Yeah.
And they managed to mess that up, and I do not like that.
Well, the core concept of Superman, that he's relatable, is that he has the powers of a god, and he's looked at as the savior of the human race. He is essentially looked at as, like, Jesus Part 2 in the comics. This is how they look at him. But the thing is, behind all that, bullet bouncing, blue and red cape, everybody cheering for him, he's just a man who was raised in Kansas by a farmer, and that's what makes him relatable, is he's this average guy who has this responsibility of the world thrust onto him, and he has to deal with the whole dilemma of his is that I can't save everybody. That's his whole thing. That's how you make him relatable, is that he's a man. In his soul, he's a man. Like, deep down, his personality, he's a man. He's Clark Kent. He's a human. But he has to take on this persona of the savior of the human race because he's the only one that can do it. That's how you make him relatable. You don't have him kill people.
Yeah.
It's just, I defended the Man of Steel for 3 years, and now I watch this movie and I've completely proven wrong.
Yeah.
I look like an idiot now, because for 3 years.
Same thing with me. I went, like, it looks like it's going to be a good movie, but at the same time I was like, I'm worried that they're going to screw it up. Yeah. Because it's very easy to screw this kind of stuff up.
Yeah. And they did.
Yeah, they did.
And that's the same thing. I have the same complaint with Batman. He murders everybody in this movie.
I completely understand. This was supposed to be like the Frank Miller, The Dark Knight Returns Batman,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a very dark Batman. I mean, that one he's straight up killing people in the comics too.
Uh-huh.
But this guy was like he was taking it to a whole nother level. Like he's chasing random thugs down the street, and he's like dragging their car behind him, flipping stuff, and straight up shooting people. And that drove me insane. He used a gun.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like he absolutely needed to either. He just straight up, he grabbed the gun and used it. And I understand, like really early issues of Batman, he straight up he was like, screw it, dual wielding, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But newer versions of Batman, he's very adamant about the fact that, like, no.
The real version of Batman.
Yeah, like, the newer ones, my personal favorite ones, he's like, no, I don't use guns, ever.
Yeah.
And it's like...
There is literally a panel in The Dark Knight Returns where he takes a rifle, breaks it in half, and says, "This is the enemy. This is the weapon of the enemy. We do not need it. We will not use it." Yeah, that's a thing that he says in The Dark Knight Returns. And then in this one, the problem I have is he's like branding people, which, whatever, I don't really care. But like then they reveal that if you have that bat brand, you're like instantly killed when you get to prison.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think he would just be like, maybe I shouldn't do that because I'm essentially killing these people?
Yeah, it's like... Batman, obviously, he's a very dark character. I mean, he's always been, like, the whole intimidate through fear, not raise through hope like Superman. But at the same time, he's never been the, like, I'm gonna murder you.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the mid-ground between, like, the Superman character and the Punisher. Like, he's gonna stop you, and he's gonna do it in a very dark way.
Yeah.
But he's not going to kill you for it.
Exactly. Can we move on to Lex Luthor?
Yeah,
because I got some stuff to say about Lex Luthor.
Or Alex Luthor.
He's horrible in this movie.
He's a kid. I mean...
I know. Look, I was fine when they cast Jesse Eisenberg. I was surprised, but I was fine. I understood they were making him into some social media Mark Zuckerberg kind of dude, and I'm like, whatever. That's fine with me if he's like a younger kind of... Personally, what I would have done is I would have gotten somebody like John Hamm or Denzel Washington.
James Spader. He's my choice all the way.
Yeah, and especially since they're never going to use Ultron again. You could do it. But I was fine with Jesse Eisenberg. But in this movie, he must have just watched Batman Forever and copied Jim Carrey's Riddler. Because that's all he does. It's embarrassing. Yeah, I was embarrassed watching this movie for him. Because he's not intimidating. He's not... I mean, he's creepy, but not in an intimidating kind of way. He's just... It's the antithesis of everything that makes the Lex Luthor Superman dichotomy great. Yeah. Like the rivalry between those two. Because Lex Luthor's supposed to be like the super smart businessman. He's elected president. You know what I mean? In the comics.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah, in this one, he's just a bumbling... I'm not going to say idiot, but he's just this goofy, over-the-top...
He like okay I like obviously okay like I want to preface this. I'm not insane. I do know comics aren't real, but like when you read a villain, like you read like a monologue from the Joker or from Lex Luthor, you inherently have this kind of like you have this sense of like fear towards that character. I got none of that from this version of Lex Luthor. It was just like I don't really care.
No,
it's just like he's there, and I get what he's doing. And yes, it's evil, but at the same time, he's acting less like the Lex Luthor we all know and love, and more like a spoiled brat trying to get what he wants.
Exactly. And I had a little bit of hope in that prison scene at the very end. Yeah. Because he did look kind of, I mean, not intimidating, but he did look more menacing. Yes. And he had the bald head, and I'm like, okay, they're actually going to do Lex Luthor. And then they ruin it when he puts his face up against the bars, and then he says, he's coming, and then he repeats the words ping, ping, ping. Like 9 times, and they hold it there for like 30 seconds, and I'm going, what are you doing? And you're making fun of yourself, essentially, at this point. I felt bad for the people in this movie. Like, they deserve better. Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Jesse Eisenberg, Gal Gadot, all of them deserve much better than what they're given to do in this movie.
And the thing is, like, they're the actors in this movie, and they're going to get blamed for it. Yeah. And, like, yes, we both been kind of sitting here going, like, Superman was horrible, Batman was horrible. in my opinion, that was in no way the fault of Ben Affleck or Henry
No.
Cavill or anything like that. That was just the writing was bad.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Affleck, I think, could be the perfect Batman. I don't think he is yet.
He does do a very good dark character, and he does kind of have the look of like the Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, but when he does his like solo movie that's directed by Ben Affleck, written by Ben Affleck, starring Ben Affleck, that's gonna be good.
Yeah.
That will be good. Like I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to see because I think that will be the definitive on-screen Batman. But in this movie, it's just from either the writers or Zack Snyder. I don't know who. Probably a combination of both. They're not able to portray the characters that they should be portraying.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Like, Henry Cavill is Superman. He could be a great Superman. Like I said, nobody's ever going to touch the hem of that cape for Chris Reeve. Like, nobody will ever beat that. But if you just give him a few more moments where you're like, oh, that's a likable human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, remember in Superman the movie where he lands on the street and then he like spins around really fast and drills down into Lex Luthor's lair, but everybody's like gathering around because they're like Superman, and he does that little everybody stand back, please stand back, nothing to get worried about, folks. Like just give him a little bit more of that, a little bit more likability, you know?
Like these movies I honestly think I know this is like kind of a little bit off topic, but I honestly think Marvel's doing it right.
Oh yeah.
Where they're like, there are a lot of like goofy scenes or whatever, but at the same time, they managed to do the dark the dark seedy underworld or whatever, and then they have their heroes and like Iron Man right now, he's kind of like a darker character right now.
Yeah.
Or like darker than he seems kind of darker than like comic book Iron Man. But at the same time, it's still got those like classic comic book moments.
Yeah.
That everyone loves to see.
I know, and the thing about this is, it looks fantastic. Like the people said, Zack Snyder gave us what we always wanted to see. That's true. He gave us what we always wanted to see visually.
Yeah.
Like that shot of the Trinity, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman standing together, is phenomenal. Like that's awesome. But there's nothing behind it. It's just a cool image.
Yeah.
That's the thing about this movie, and I think the thing that this movie suffers from the most. Speaking of Wonder Woman. She was awesome.
She was amazing.
Yeah, she was one of the best parts of this movie. But I think she is a part of the problem in so much that they tried to set up everything else, and they lost their two main characters in the process. Like, I want to talk about the Justice League for a little bit. That's for a second.
Yeah, that's good.
Where Batman emails Wonder Woman like JPEGs. Well, not JPEG, but
video
videos
files
of metahumans.
Yeah.
And it's like a 5-minute scene where they literally show you everything that's going to happen over the next 5 years. Literally, and I liked each little bit. Like, I thought, there's a scene with the Flash, right? Where Barry Allen's standing in
the... You're talking about in the convenience store?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where, like the guy's robbing the store, and then there's just that... You see Barry Allen standing there just looking at some milk, and then he's gone for, like, a blink of an eye, and then you just see this Flash knock out the other guy, and you're just like... That was awesome.
Yeah. At the Aquaman one, I had a little problem with because I was like, why is this so slow and weird? Because he just kind of hovers there.
Yeah, he just like jumps out and then breaks something and swims away.
Yeah. But I thought it was cool. Cyborg was... they really messed up Cyborg for me.
I liked Cyborg so much as they seem to be keeping it to the origins.
Yeah.
Like something happened, some sort of lab accident's going to happen. He's going to be horribly disfigured. And I think they're doing Mother Box in this one, right?
Yeah. Where that was a Mother Box that's like turning on. And then it like bathes him in radiation.
Yeah, and it's kind of like fusing with him a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, when Cyborg gets his like own solo movie, if they do the accident right, because first off, that's got to happen the right way. And if they explain where the Mother Box came from the right way, like they don't just go, "Oh, we found it.
Yeah,
it's mine now." That will be horrible.
Yeah.
But if they have them finding the Mother Box, have him studying it, and then have him use it to fuse with Victor to create Cyborg, I think that will be a good movie.
Well, the problem I had is the origin of Cyborg is he's Vic Stone. He's like a teenager football player. His father is Silas Stone, who's a scientist, and he's working on a Mother Box, which for those of you who don't know, which I'm assuming is most people listening to this, A mother box contains what's called a boom tube, and it's how people in the DC universe teleport to the planet of Apocalypse, which is where Darkseid resides, and he's basically Satan of the DC universe. I wouldn't say Satan, but he's like...
I think Trigon's more Satan.
Space Hitler of the DC universe.
Like his whole thing for him is he wants to find the anti-life equation.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to try to describe what that is because no one really knows. But it legitimately, if he finds it, he conquers the universe. Like everyone just bows to his will. It's like
almost like the Infinity Gauntlet. For Thanos.
Yeah, it's like he's the DC version of Thanos.
Yeah, although he's way cooler than Thanos, I would say. I like Darkseid a lot better.
I like the Gauntlet, but I like Darkseid.
Yeah, but anyway, what happens is Vic Stone is visiting his father in the laboratory, and then Darkseid begins his invasion. The boom tube opens up. Vic is caught in this like massive wash of radiation, and it like fuses computers and like mechanical stuff, technology to him, and mixes him with it, and he becomes like a half human, half cyborg person. He doesn't eat anymore. He doesn't sleep. He just takes in data all the time.
Yeah. And
this one, he's like armless, legless, laying on a slab, and then like he's just like it explodes and he turns into cyborg, and it's just so fast. It's what are you doing here? You know?
Yeah. Like I understand where you're coming from. I think like the last time we did this, you were very excited for this movie, and I was too. But I was worried about it. I think like the roles have kind of reversed here, where it's like I'm very excited for this cyborg movie because I think like it looks like they're gonna do a good job.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're wary about it. You want it to come, but you're kind of like.
Well, I got to be honest. There's nothing in this movie that has lessened any of my excitement for the next DC movies.
Yes.
This is just the BS setup movie that you have to get through, and I just wish it would have been done better. But I'm wary about Justice League, only because it's got Zack Snyder directing, and I trusted this guy for so long, but after Batman v Superman, I'm just really scared of what he's going to do. But like Aquaman, it's got James Wan directing, Suicide Squad, David Ayer. I mean, everything, it looks, they all look amazing. I'm just worried that they're not going to do them as like comic book adaptations. It's going to be like interpretations of characters, and it doesn't fall under what I want. And what I think a lot of the fans want, is clearly from the response this movie's got. And I mean, there's one final thing I want to bring up, though, that they royally screwed up, which is the death of Superman.
Oi. Ugh. First off, I don't like talking about this topic, so.
Okay.
I'm kidding. Death of Superman. Like, okay, when they introduced Doomsday, like in that trailer a while ago, before that, when it was like hinted that like Doomsday might be the villain or whatever, and I was like, okay, if Doomsday's the villain, Superman's gonna die.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's kind of a given, considering the fact like the first time he was ever like really prominent in a comic book, Superman sort of died.
His first story was like the death of Superman.
Yeah, it was the death of Superman. You're like, if you don't have Superman like bite it, you're kind of screwing up.
Yeah.
It's like, it's okay. But like, Doomsday first off was not good.
No, not really.
He was like, he didn't seem like Doomsday to me. I didn't like him.
He didn't seem powerful enough. Because the thing about Doomsday is there's supposed to be like a sense of dread leading up to him. Where you're like, oh man, Superman is going to have to face like, I don't think he's going to win. You know what I mean? Like this is one of those ones where there has to be a real sense of dread leading up to it. And you're watching it, and he just appears, and then 15 minutes later, maybe 10 minutes later, I think I'm still being generous with 10 minutes, he's dead. And there's no the thing is, you're supposed to see Superman losing, and losing badly. Yeah. Like, really almost being beaten to death before he realizes what's going to go down that night. You know what I mean? That's what has to happen with Doomsday. You can't have 5 minutes of Wonder Woman hitting him with a sword, and then Superman flying around to grab a kryptonite spear, and then Batman just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, Batman kind of like chilling there, trying not to get killed.
The problem is, though, it's such a stupid thing to do. First off, it's the second movie. Why you would do this during the second movie?
Yeah, like Doomsday is...
no idea.
Doomsday is huge in the comic books. Like, he's not Joker or Lex Luthor, obviously. Like, say Lex Luthor and like pretty much anyone knows who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like anyone who's read a Superman comic probably knows who Doomsday is.
Yeah.
And they probably love his character because he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's awesome. And they did not do Doomsday justice.
Well, I think he's a plot device. Like, you just need something that Superman can fight and not immediately kill if he needs to. You know what I mean? Like, you even when you have Lex Luthor and like his purple and green armor.
Yeah, the Omega armor.
Yeah, even when you have that, it's still like, well, Superman's gonna win. Doomsday's like a plot device that you use when you really want the stakes to seem high. But you're creating an unnecessary plot hurdle when you kill Superman, but then you also announce, well, the Justice League's going to come out next year, and Henry Cavill's posting on his Instagram feed, going to start training for Justice League.
Yeah, it's like
takes away any of the impact.
Yeah, and then like you had that scene at the end, and like I understood what it was, where he was being buried, and like I forget who threw like the one clump of dirt on it.
Lois Lane.
Yeah, and like they have that scene like that's a cool scene. Like that's but it's supposed to be like impactful. Like crap,
on its own, it's a good scene. But when connected to everything, it's not.
But like they've already done so much for like you said, they've already done so much announcements for Justice League. You're sitting there like, well, they can't kill Superman.
Yeah.
He's in the Justice League.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's like you see Superman get stabbed or whatever they did with the weird bone sword. That was
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're sitting there, you're like, well, we know he's going to show up later, so why do we care?
Exactly. And the thing about it is, they said like, we need some like stuff. We need some kind of motivation for them to get the Justice League together. How about the fact that you had to fight freaking Doomsday?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you could have had them defeat Doomsday. Like, I know people say like, if Doomsday's in there, he has to die. I'm fine with Doomsday not killing Superman, at least the first time around in this movie. Like, I would have been fine with that. And then you could have just had them go, boy, that was a close call. We should probably get a couple people together to fight this. You know what I mean? Because, like, Superman barely won against the Kryptonians, and the three of us barely won against Doomsday.
Yeah.
So we should get these together. But what I'm worried about in this for the Justice League movie is they've already said Green Lantern's not in it, the first one, which is stupid. That is just a dumb idea because the Justice League is not the Avengers. The Avengers has a constantly rotating roster, and there's never like a solid. That's the lineup of the Avengers. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like you obviously you like the original Avengers. You have Cap and you have Iron Man.
Yeah,
and like Thor is usually in there, and Hulk sometimes if you want like, but Wolverine was part of the Avengers at a certain point.
Yeah.
Hawkeye is kind of like in and out all the time.
Yeah. The Justice League roster is much more solidified. You have the big six, which is Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman.
Yeah.
Those are the big six. And then you can have, either Martian Manhunter, Cyborg, Green Arrow, Shazam, hell, even Hawkman or the Atom. You know what I mean?
The animated series. They changed it a little bit, but at the same time, you still have the key members still there.
Yeah. And the thing about this is, you're going to have a Justice League movie with no Green Lantern, which this isn't like saying, no offense, I love Aquaman, but this isn't like saying we're going to do a Justice League movie with no Aquaman. Like, that I can deal with. You know, like that I'm fine with. This is like without one of the big five, the founding members of the Justice League. He's not going to be in there. And Superman's not going to be in there for maybe half the movie because he's dead or coming back to life, or he's not really Superman because if they try and do like the Return of Superman where there's 4 different ones, it's just the problem with this movie is right across the street, metaphorically, you have Marvel, which is giving us everything that we want. Literally, we have an R-rated Punisher versus Daredevil, but we also have a giant Captain America Civil War in the same year.
But they're like knocking everything they do. They're knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, even the bad ones like Thor: The Dark World is boring, but it's not embarrassing, right?
Yeah, I'll give you Thor: The Dark World was entertaining at points.
Yeah,
I have a serious problem with Iron Man 3.
Yeah,
but like even Iron Man 3, like I can't sit through that movie.
Yeah.
But even I have to admit that end scene where he just summons all the suits, I was sitting there like, I screeched a little bit. I'm not ashamed to admit that.
It was. They're all an adaptation of a comic book, which is fun. And then you have over at Fox, they're doing those X-Men movies, but they're doing either jump right off the page with Deadpool, or they're doing an interpretation of the X-Men that are really actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
With Bryan Singer, for Days of Future Past and Apocalypse. But then you look at Warner Brothers, and there's nothing I love more than the DC universe, which is what's so painful about this.
Yeah. I love Marvel. I will never hate on anybody from Marvel because they're amazing comics.
Yeah.
Stan Lee is the godfather of all comic books.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, I'm a DC boy all the way through.
Yeah. So when you're watching this, and it's like they've made you wait 3 years for this movie that they keep hyping up and saying, oh, it's going to be awesome, going to be awesome. And then you get it, and it's not only not the characters that you wanted to see the way you wanted to see them. It's not even particularly good. So you don't have, Fox where they're like, well, we're doing an interpretation of the X-Men, but it's at least a good movie like Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
And you don't have, say like with an Iron Man 3 where you're like, well, it's not a great movie, but at least it's, they did adapt Iron Man, so I can enjoy it on that level. This has neither. So I'm hoping going forward that they fix this, because the serious backlash, they should.
I think what they need to do, it's I get what they're doing, and I think I know what they're trying to do, which is trying to catch up with Marvel and Fox and all that, because they are years ahead.
Yeah.
I think with part of the big problem is they're trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
They are looking at all the success Marvel's having, and they're going, oh shoot, we're behind.
Yeah.
We need to catch up, because if we don't, the superhero fad is just going to be over.
Yeah.
And we're going to lose out on a ton of money.
Yeah, they're going to be left in the dust.
But at the same time, I'm going to be honest here. I don't think the superhero fad's going away anytime soon.
Not as long as Marvel keeps doing awesome.
Yeah, Marvel's making amazing movies every year, and they've been doing it since when did Iron Man come out?
2008.
2008. That's 8 years ago. That's they're still doing it. They have movies planned through 2020, and they're and people are already excited for those.
They have great TV shows. Well, I mean on Netflix at least.
Well, the animated ones.
Yeah, those are rough.
That's Disney. That's not Marvel.
Yeah, but I think it is Marvel Studios, but I get what you're saying. It's on Disney XD. Well, it's for kids.
It's more Disney run. That's what I'm saying.
They're terrible nonetheless. Those
Yeah.
Cartoons are terrible. But this, it's I don't think even the DC universe needs as much setup, because the characters are so ingrained in people's collective consciousness. Everybody knows, maybe not everybody knows who Barry Allen and Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart and Arthur Curry are, but they do know who Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman are.
Yeah.
They know who that is. And I don't think it even requires as much setup, because people will accept it.
Yeah, it honestly, it doesn't. Okay, look at what Marvel's doing right now with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We've had so many origins in the past, and they for the most part they were pretty good. Amazing Spider-Man 1 was
okay.
It was, in my opinion, it was an okay movie.
Yeah.
2 was
horrible.
Yeah, just bad. We don't talk about that.
No.
But they've seen that, they know we know who Spider-Man is, so they're going, okay, let's just throw him in.
Yeah.
And people are accepting it. People are excited for it.
It's fine.
It's the same thing. We know who Superman is. We know who Batman is. Yes, we want to see their origins again because, well, they're kind of awesome.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we don't need to in order to keep moving forward.
Exactly. And that's what I hope they do, is they realize that they don't have to try and copy Marvel of throwing everything in. Because honestly, Suicide Squad, it looks amazing, and that's
kind of just pulled out of the air.
Yeah, that's a smaller scale, has nothing to do with Superman. I mean, Batman is in that movie, but you get what I'm saying. It's not like this is going to set up the Justice League. So it's just hopefully going forward they realize what we want.
Yeah.
And give us what we want. Just take a cue from Marvel. Yeah. Is honestly all I need. Don't copy Marvel, but understand that the reason they work is because they're giving us what we want.
Yeah, they're effectively giving us moving comic books.
Yes, they're giving us comic books that have come off the page and onto the big screen.
Yes, and that's what fans want, and
that's what DC needs to give.
Yeah.
I mean, Suicide Squad will tell if it's Zack Snyder or if it's overall this universe is bad.
Yes.
But until then, let's hope they learn from their mistakes.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. And
No problem, man.
yeah, I could go on for hours about this because this movie just is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all I can really say. I can go on for hours about this. But yes, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.